All right. It's time for happy hour. You guys know the drill. Oh. Happy hour, guys. It is the end of Tuesday, April 21st. And we're going to give folks some time to get in the room. Enjoy these tunes. Get something in your glass. Cheers to yourself because you made it through another Tuesday. Greg, you called it. Time for some Journey. Y'all know the drill. Go ahead and drop in the comments. Let us know where you are, what you're drinking, and if you're new, put 3 stars. Woo! Guys, this is a jam. On and on and on. Yo, we made it to another day. It's week 5, it's Tuesday. It is the end of April 21st, and it is time to celebrate. Let's say hi to a few people while folks are still coming in the room. Adele, cheers. Dirk, good to see you. You're in Austin drinking a G&T. All right. Pam in League City drinking a 17 Tannat also. Hey, that's what I'm drinking today. Chloe, what's up from Dayton, Texas? Leah, I'm glad you like my music today. Jerry Lynn, good to see you again as always. Yes, it is. It does feel like we're getting ready for a release party. Unfortunately, we can't be doing that right now, but you know, it's virtual. We're gonna have a wine party right here. Tiffany, I'm glad you like my song too. Renda, what's up? Lisa, man, we got a New Braunfels. We got a Waco. Hello from Ohio, says Angela. What's up? I think you might be one of our first Ohio folks. So good to see you. Oh, Phillips Vineyard, we love you guys. Don't stop believing. Oh, I don't want this song to end. I just kind of want to let it play. Guys, cheers. It is the end of Tuesday. It's time for happy hour. All right, guys. We could listen to great music like that all day, but we have some incredible special guests today. Lisa, good to see you in Stonewall. Alan, my Canadian buddy up in Toronto. And look at that, you're drinking wine today. Man, I love it. You're always my cocktail guy. So I love to see that you're drinking some Parasos Tempranillo. Wayne in Frisco, Coors Light today, says Anthony. Sounds like it's been a day. I know that that Anthony play when it's a Coors Light day. So let's bring up a few folks that I want to say hi. We're actually going to bring on a member of our William Chris team first. Special guest today, Elise. How are you?
Hi,
where are you? And what are you drinking?
I am at home, working from home. I'm in Canyon Lake, Texas, and I'm drinking a Mourvedre Carignan Rosé. It's delicious.
So in other words, what Anthony would be drinking if it wasn't a Coors Light?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so good.
Well, cheers. Cheers to you, Elise.
Hello,
I'm so glad
everyone.
you could join us.
Yeah. Hi.
For everybody who hasn't met Elise, Elise is one of the superstar, rock star superhumans that helps William Chris go round. She is our accounting queen and ruler of all things financial. We love her to death, not for a small reason, because she helps get payroll done. So thank you, Elise, for helping us do that. But no, Elise is incredible. We don't get to see her a lot if you're in the tasting room because she doesn't lead tastings, but she is an integral part of what we do at William Chris, and we're so thankful to have her on our team. And especially in these times with a lot of like financial programs we have to keep up with, and you know, trying to make sure that we're staying healthy financially as a business. So Elise, thank you for all that you do for the William Chris family. Cheers.
Thank you, Dee. Cheers. Cheers, everyone.
All right, Elise, we're going to bring you back a little bit later. Next up, we're going to go to a fan of ours who wrote in with a really great question that we're going to be covering today. Crystal, say hi. Tell us where you are and what you're drinking.
Hey, everyone. Good to see you in person. I am in Lakeway, and I am drinking William Chris 2018 Marsanne. It's delish.
I love it. I'm a huge fan of that Marsanne. I think it's totally underrated as a grape, and It grows really well here in Texas, so maybe we'll be making more of it in the future. So thank you for constantly being, I know you're a big happy hour attender. I see you in the comments all the time. So I just want to say thanks for being a regular attender and for the thoughtful question that is essentially going to be the Wine Nerd section for today. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We will see you here in just a little bit. Thanks for saying hi. We'll bring you right back on, okay?
Awesome.
All right, guys, and without further ado, we have another special guest, my good friend, JR, who is another wine professional here in the Austin area. Let's bring JR on. JR, if you want to say hi, tell us where you are and what you're drinking.
Hey, party people. I am in South Austin, and I'm drinking red vermouth from Spain, made of mystery grapes.
Hey, I gotta love those wines made of mystery grapes. It's kind of fun to get stuff around the world and they're like, oh, it's a field blend. We don't know what it is. And like, okay, I'm down. I'll try it. Well, I know we're going to get into this even deeper, but thank you for being with us today. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time and nerding out with us in the Wine Nerd section. So we're not going to go too deep. I don't want to give away your thunder and talk about your wine path just yet. But cheers to you. Happy hour.
Cheers.
All right, we'll see you in just a little bit, JR. All right, guys, one more quick check-in on the comments to see who's here. Guys, can you all give yourselves a round of applause? It is a Tuesday, and we are over 100 people at happy hour. Like, that's stinking awesome. It's been really cool to see this happy hour grow, and it's because of you guys tuning in. We're trying to continue to keep it relevant and be a part of your everyday. So I just want to say thanks. Really cool, this community that we've built here and that you guys are an integral part of. And I couldn't do it without you. So thank you for being here. Sydney, Margaret, Leah, oh my gosh, all the people here. Pam, so great to see y'all in the comments. Shannon, we love you guys. Let's hop into the wine section for today. So as I promised, today we are drinking, and by we, I mean me, and many of you hopefully, the Timmons Estate Tannat from the Texas High Plains from 2017. All right, so the 2017 vintage of Timmons Tannat. You see the sexy high-shouldered bottle that it sits in. We like to put our Tannats and our Petit Verdeaux in these bottles. They're very sexy. Guys, this is a big wine. While I took a sip a second ago and I'm like talking, I can feel that burn that many of us love from good alcohol, usually from like whiskey or a cocktail. So that tells me, that burn tells me, if I'm a blind taster as a som, that my alcohol is going to be up. So let's actually check in on that. Interestingly enough, maybe it's because I had spicy food earlier, this is only 13.3. So that is not elevated alcohol, guys. So my body's lying to me at this point. And again, it's probably because I had salsa not too long ago. So you know how that combo works, alcohol and spicy things. It's not pleasurable. So not good to eat spicy things before you blind taste, because then you might think the alcohol's higher. But let's talk about other things. Tannat, guys, gets its name from the word tannin. So you can expect that a Tannat usually is going to be highly tannic. So that kind of scratch papery, tongue depressory feeling. Got to do the D-slurp. Oh yeah, guys. Woo. This has got structure. If you're doing that with me at home, because this was in the wine club shipment, guys, that sandpapery feel, it's definitely there. This is young. It's a 17, so not quite 3 years old yet, and is going to need some time to open up. So this would really benefit from a decant. This would also benefit from a few more years in bottle, and it's going to benefit from some fattier foods. So let's talk about that for a sec. So this has really good fruit character. It doesn't carry a lot of baking spice notes, so that makes sense. This spent 26 months in oak, but 100% neutral oak. So I know JR and Crystal are going to be discussing that. So keep that in mind when we get taught about neutral versus new and kind of what that means. And this is mostly fruit driven, guys. I'm getting some kind of sour black cherry, maybe some plum. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. Mostly black fruited, maybe a little bit of red fruit. All right, when we want to talk about food here, when we talk about food here, I'm going pulled pork, but I want like a coffee chipotle pulled pork, where you can get in these kind of like really great coffee notes that can integrate with the fruit. It'll have enough fat likely to help the tannin structure. I'd also do some beef fajitas here. That smoky component on the grill with the fruit character of the Tannat. Those things are going to be great. In Uruguay, where they grow tons of Tannat, they love cooking over the open fire. So you can imagine that open fire, any kind of meat is going to be pretty fantastic as well. So let's all cheers, guys. It's the end of Tuesday. Cheers. Okay, guys, it's that time again for the Wine Nerd section. I'm going to drop a little chat prompt in here because we're going to bring JR back up, but I want you guys to be able to I want you all to be able to ask questions too. So I'm going to give you the chance. We're going to be talking about oak aging. So if you have questions related to oak aging or want to ask JR a question while we're on here, I'm going to drop this prompt in the comments. So if you'll check that out. Jeffrey says duck ? Yes, I would do some smoked duck, some duck on the grill. It's going to be great. George, good to see you from San Antonio. But guys, while JR's up here talking, make sure to drop questions in the comments and I'll see if I can grab some if we have time. So without further ado, I'm going to bring JR back on and give her a little bit of introduction. I'm going to brag on her a little bit. JR is an incredible wine professional who's a part of the Austin industry. Most recently at Jeffrey's, she was serving as both a cocktail bartender and a som. I learned plenty from her about making beautiful martinis, Negronis, old fashions, but then also getting served some pretty incredible wine from their great program. So you're also, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a certified sommelier.
Yes.
Beautiful. And been involved in a lot of wine projects. I know recently the Wonder Women of Wine Conference was something you've been involved in. And we'll probably catch this at the tail end of your segment, but I know you've been working on a new project. But I'd love to hear, like, how'd you get into wine? What was your start? Where have you been? What's your journey been like?
Well, it's been kind of a crazy one. When I first moved to Austin 10 years ago, I was working at Trudy's bartending and slinging tequila, and I eventually wanted to get into the wine business so that I could make more money. And I started at a downtown restaurant that had over a 200 bottle wine list. So I was kind of forced to learn very quickly a lot about wine, and I got really lucky. The business that I was working for hosted a comprehensive wine school, and I got admitted immediately. So I spent my first year really diving deep, studying wine. I went and worked to Harvest, kind of set me on that track to just learn as much as humanly possible. I took my CSW to get certified as a specialist. It's just been a really long journey into studying and learning and enjoying as much as humanly possible.
I love that. So talk to me about, and maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So let me bring Crystal back on before I jump the gun and steal her thunder. So Crystal, you had a great question. We've been talking a lot about neutral and new oak in my wine segment, and it just kind of, passively mentioning it without spending a lot of time talking about it. So I'd love for you to jump in here. What was your question? What have you been wondering about?
Yeah, so I mean, those terms are totally foreign to me. I've been drinking wine for a little while now, but I haven't gotten kind of serious about it till I just moved to Austin and discovered all this beautiful Texas wine. And so I like the new oak, the neutral oak, the this percent of this oak or this percent of this oak. It's kind of confusing, and I was hoping we could learn more about that.
I love it. JR, I'm going to let you take it away here.
Yay, JR!
So oak is major when it comes to wine. It's a super expansive topic. To put it in perspective, it was one of the earliest wine technologies available. So in like provincial primitive winemaking days, that's how they would store wine. That's how they would transport it. It was just really important to local economies, and it kind of set up what we experience in modern winemaking today. It's kind of a very integral part of producing a quality wine. There there's a lot to know about oak. Let me put it that way.
maybe start for us. What would you say is the main difference between new oak versus neutral oak? Because I feel like those are the two terms that we use the most when we talk about William Chris wine. And probably, I would imagine, and maybe you can tell me this in a restaurant setting, folks, when we are talking about things, we're talking about neutral or new. What would you say is the biggest difference between those two categories?
So it's pretty easy to identify. And once you start thinking about this, it's probably going to change how you drink wine forever. Neutral oak is basically a barrel that's been used to the extent that it's not going to impart any flavors to your wine. It still allows flavors to develop, and I'll get a little bit more into that later because it overlaps with another category. But to contrast, new oak is oak that is brand spanking new, and it has a ton of flavor and a ton of properties that are going to eventually integrate themselves into a wine. Every quality alcoholic beverage of complexity goes through some sort of period of extraction and maceration, and that's what oak does. You can leave your wine in an oak barrel, new one, and it's going to start pooling all of these different flavors. At the same time, it's going to begin a process of oxidizing. These little tiny things that we smell and taste called esters are going to form little aldehydes. They're going to make your wine taste even more complex. And typically with a new oak barrel, depending on where you get it from, it's going to have flavors of vanilla, coconut, baking spice, sometimes smoke. Caramelized flavors like butterscotch are really prevalent. And the extent to which you experience those things really depends on if you're using like a robust, fresh new oak and how long you leave it in there for. Alternatively, oak really, it goes through this process called élevage, which is aging or rearing and bringing up. And leaving wine, this is kind of precarious, in a air-exposed vessel will allow for flavors to integrate within the wine and for the wine itself to mature. So even if it's sitting in like a used barrel, it's still going to change the identity of the wine for the long term. And so that's the major difference.
I love it. So I've plopped this up here on our screen. Hopefully everybody can see this. You mentioned things coming from new oak, flavors and aromas like vanilla, coconut, smoke, butterscotch, baking spice. And then in contrast, just to clarify, in contrast, neutral oak is mostly going to, it's going to oxidize the wine in the same way that new oak is. So it will change the flavors, but it's not really imparting necessarily any flavors from the oak itself. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, very, very minimal amount. It's more so going to change the structure, the mouthfeel. One other major difference is that wines that are aged in new oak generally have higher color extraction, so they'll be intense. So when you're looking at a heavily oaked Chardonnay, it's going to be like a bright, vivid golden hue. Whereas if you're looking at another white wine that wasn't aged in oak, maybe say like a Chablis, which is a French wine that's normally aged in neutral oak, it's going to be a little bit lighter, more pristine, maybe have some like green flecks to it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you touched on color. I feel like that's something that on camera that I haven't spent a ton of time talking about. So it's a good reminder that oak aging does affect color extraction and can tell you something about what's in your glass, especially in a blind tasting setting where you're trying to understand that maybe it's a little bit deeper in color than you expected for a particular grape because of the oak aging. So I love that. I'm going to bring Crystal back up to see what she thought about that. Crystal, thoughts,
awesome.
feelings about that?
Yeah, I'm like sitting here swirling my wine, looking at it, trying to identify whether I think it was like in neutral oak or new oak. That's just amazing. JR, you're incredible.
I love that. Well, thank you for the question, Crystal. I'm going to bring Elise back up here. Elise, I know Elise's wine preferences. Elise is probably, I would consider, Elise, would you agree, a pretty big fan of oak in general?
I do love the oak wines. I like the texture and the mouthfeel. That's my favorite. I do love oak wines. And everybody makes fun of me at work for it.
Don't let them do that. It's not fair.
They do. They do.
They don't know what
Oh,
they're
you
missing.
like that oaky wine? But yeah,
Hey, and you know, I think
I've gotten to where D has really broadened my tastes. So
Oh, thanks.
It's been wonderful. Yes.
And I think, Elise, you're a good check on me because I tend to prefer very like steely, lighter wines that are like stainless steel, concrete aged, that don't see as much oxygen, that don't take on as heavy of a texture. And your preference for it continues to push me to like continue to revisit those wines. So,
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice balance.
We're helping each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Elise. I'm going to pop back off. JR, I've got a question from, let's go here. Stephanie's got a question, and I'm going to show it on the screen. Hopefully you can read it. Stephanie says, what makes a wine taste like bell pepper? Is that oak?
So actually, that's a really specific compound inherent to a grape. They have these compounds called pyrazines, which is where like green bell peppers get their flavor from, and they exist within the grape themselves. So when a grape undergoes the fermentation process, all of these tiny little flavors start to convert, and some of them will decide to show themselves or not, depending on the type of yeast that is using to ferment a wine. But ultimately, that green bell pepper is coming from that like one hyper-specific component, and you see it a lot in the Cabernet family. So Cabernet Sauvignons and Cabernet Francs are really good hallmarks. We're also seeing now too a lot of stem inclusion in other wines, and when you include stems in a wine, it can also kind of give off that green kind of note, if you will.
Yeah. I love that. Anthony kind of was mentioning pyrazines there too. And it's funny, you already talked about the Cab family. Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, like that's a good tell when we're blind tasting a Soms. We see that green bell pepper note, and we think, usually for me, it's like a lot of times things were picked maybe a little too early, or it came from a cooler climate and they didn't ripen out all the way. Some people like those. I, for one, don't like bell peppers, just like the food. See, exactly. This is a great example, guys. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Having a preference, to Lisa's point, like sometimes you like oak wine, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you like wines without pyrazine. And in JR's case, sometimes you love that. So let's see if we can get one more question. Ken's got a great question here. Let's pop over to Ken's question here. Why start in one barrel type and finish in another?
That is a fascinating question. I think
we actually do this at William Chris.
Oh, do you really? Do you start in new and then move to used, or if you don't mind me asking, what's your process?
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll start wines usually in large format. So sometimes we want to ferment in like large format foeders, and then we'll move into either new or used oak, like smaller. And sometimes that has to do just with capacity, you know, especially for smaller wineries that aren't like 100,000 case production giant companies. We're really limited by what containers we have available. But usually for us, it's just a conscious decision to create complexity in the wine. You know, we want to, and sometimes we'll do like certain lots. We'll do like 30% neutral oak and 70%, usually it's like 20% new, 70% neutral. But I'd love to hear your take on this. If you've heard of other folks doing different uses of wood and what that might contribute. And
well, definitely my experience working at a winery in Napa taught me that most of the logistics come down to like what your facility can accommodate. So if you need to empty a tank a certain day, like sometimes moving things from one barrel to another, or one starting spot and one ending spot, really just has to do with like keeping the mechanics of a winery operating. And I know that's not the most romantic answer. I would say that especially in Italy, they do a lot with large foeder, which are like enormous, kind of like it sounds like what you're doing at William Chris vessels, and then they'll put them in smaller, like tiny oak casks, so that they get like a sharper, higher maceration. And a lot of it comes down to money too. Like oak is very expensive to make, to harvest, to hold on to. Anytime you're seeing an oak aged wine, like just know like the people who made it like had to keep that stuff around for a long time, and it costs a lot of money. So like you have to kind of decide like how you want to treat your wine, and which harvests are going to produce the best wine that's going to taste the best with this high-end fancy Slovenian oak. You know, it's kind of a stylistic choice, I would say.
Yeah. So kind of what I heard you say to this answer is like logistics, cost, and really style, and the kind of the preferences of the winemaker, right?
Yeah, you have to be able to afford style in wine.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's such a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of folks are like, oh my gosh, why are these red wines so much more expensive than these white wines or these rosés? Well, more times than not, red wine is spending time in barrels. That's it. One, is expensive to buy the barrel, and two, it's expensive to hold on to that inventory and let it age for a while. Whereas white wine, we're producing, it doesn't sit, it can stay in big tanks, and it's usually released a little bit earlier. With some exceptions, but I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that, you know, the more I've studied wine and started to understand the whole process and the implications of cost and all that kind of stuff, inventory, has really kind of opened my eyes. So I think that's a really great point. You've already taught us so much. We try and keep the wine nerd section to like a bite-sized chunk, and I think we got a whole mouthful of like an entire hamburger with cheese and like special stuff and bacon today. Thank you for bringing the wine nerdery and knowledge. I want to talk before I let you go and we hop into kind of our grab bag fun part of happy hour. Tell us a little bit. I know you've pivoted in this time. It's been a difficult season for a lot of restaurant-based folks who are usually working on the floor and are floor somms or bartenders. Mention a little bit about this project, this stay-at-home somm that you're working on.
Yeah, so over the past couple of weeks, I have been working with recently displaced somms across the city to start hosting online wine classes. The classes are all donation-based. All the money goes directly to people who are newly unemployed. And the purpose behind it really is to, you know, bring a service to the community and keep our community connected while giving out-of-place workers meaningful work. I do know that a lot of people in the service industry right now are just really struggling to even get access to their benefits, and it's really hard to just wait around for relief to happen. So it's honestly like a fun way to stay connected and learn what you're drinking and meet some totally amazing, talented sommeliers in our community who have nothing to do but, you know, share that passion.
I love that. And I'm just so appreciative of how thoughtful you've been through this process. I know that early on you were posting links to resources to help our community, and are just always a breath of fresh air to talk to and catch up with and like have fun side chats with each other about random stuff. I know that our fans would love to know about it. So I'm going to pull back up because I'm going to introduce kind of the fun grab bag. But if you can hop in the comments,
yeah.
And just jot down where folks can get connected to either you or the stay-at-home somm. I'd love to give them that opportunity if they're interested to find out more info, because I think you're doing awesome stuff for our industry, and that's so important in this season. So, okay, I'm gonna pull you off, JR. Right. Thank you for the wine nerdery. Cheers to all the knowledge you just dropped on us. Incredible. Happy hour. Guys, how awesome is JR? I'm so lucky to call her a friend and a colleague, and it's always a pleasure to see her. I wish I could be sitting in front of her at Jeffrey's and she could be geeking out about cocktails and wine with me, but that season will come. There is hope to look forward to. I know Elise and we have a standing reservation at some point. We got to share dinner. We've been talking about that for a long time. I know Jeffrey's is still doing curbside pickup, so if you're a wine fan, that they are still doing food and drink there. But guys, I'm excited because we do have one round of this or that to get us started, and we're actually going to integrate something a little bit new today. I want everybody to take another sip of whatever they're drinking. I'm going to catch up in the comments to say hi to a few more people while I post round one of the this or that game. I've been thinking a lot. Guys, I have a confession to make. So let me paste this and then I'll tell you. Which do you wish we could get right now? A haircut or a massage? A haircut or a massage? Because those are two things that I am desperately in need of. I am, let's just say that I got really tired of my gray on the side of my hair, so that when I was like trimming my beard, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna like just take the clippers and just get on around it. And I'm so glad that cameras for these video chats cannot see the back of my head, because Guys, it is a hot mess. I tried to give myself a haircut. It was a disaster. So that's my confession of the day. Do you wish you could get a haircut or a massage? Man, I do. I used to get monthly massages. I do a lot of hunched like computer work and sit in my car driving out to the winery back and forth. And it's really important for my physical health to get a massage, to get stretched out. And it's one of the reasons I've been doing yoga. So I do miss those. I got those about once a month. Just for my own physical well-being. And so I am missing both. I badly need a haircut to fix the mess that I made on my head. That's also why I've been wearing hats a lot. But then also, like, I just think getting haircuts are kind of therapeutic in their own right. Like, I'm a huge haircut fan. So we've got some special guests. I'm going to bring folks back up one by one. And I think I'm going to go to Elise first. So Elise,
Hey.
talk to me. We're starting out with this or that, haircut or massage. Where are you on this?
Oh, massage.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Was a massage something that you would get like before all of this happened, or is you're just like really craving like that therapeutic piece?
No, I wasn't a monthly person, but I would have loved to have been. But I was at least every other month.
Okay, so it's massage hands down for you.
Yeah, because you're at that computer all day, and
yeah, I feel you.
Talking about it, I was stretching.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. Do a little bit of this. Like put your arms back behind you and lift. Yes. Guys, it's actually funny. We're gonna have a yoga instructor on as tomorrow's special guest. She's both a wine instructor and a yoga instructor, and so she's gonna talk to us about this. So stay tuned for that. Okay, Elise, thank you. Crystal, I'm coming to you next. I got you mid-drink. I love it. Enjoying happy hour the right way. What are you? Are we haircut or massage? What are you missing most?
So it would totally be a haircut just because I miss my stylist so much. She's a friend. They have like ice cold beer when I go in. It's amazing. So I would go that direction.
Okay. I'm with you. I feel that. JR, I got to hear from you as well. Where are you on this? Haircut or massage?
Oh Lord, give me a haircut. I need a haircut so bad. Every day I wake up, I'm like, maybe I'll make bangs. I need a haircut.
I do feel like guys get to cheat. I mean, girls can wear hats too, but I feel like guys always wear hats. So like, you know, I'm here, and I know a lot of my girlfriends are like, I hate wearing hats. So your hair looks great. It's very long.
It's very long.
Hands down haircut, it sounds like. Okay, thank you, JR. Let's check in. What do people say? Massage. My hair has never been this long. Massage. Oh, Adele says, please call me. Adele, I appreciate you. I don't know if I'm gonna get a haircut during quarantine time, but I'm gonna keep you in mind. Maybe we can side chat about that. Not many choices. Massage. Mike says always massage. Jeffrey massage. Easy one. Ala massage. Got a few. Hand says haircut. Renda says haircut. Wife says haircut, but I'm throwing back to the 70s. I love that. Corey, haircut. Sydney, my husband says haircut. I say massage. Margaret says nails. Okay, Margaret, you know the rules. No inventing third options. Okay. You know, I get it. Maybe it's therapeutic for you, but like you have a this or that. All right. Elise is showing off her nails. Elise, come on. Oh, yes, wow.
Nails. I need nails.
I feel like
they're awful.
Oh, you need them. Okay.
They're awful.
Well, guys, I could cut my own hair. I think it would be even more of a disaster. You just end up with me with a shaved head, which I spent most of my life with a shaved head. And it's not like my hair is super long, and goodness knows it's falling out. So whatever. I feel like it's a little easier with short hair. So whether you're a guy or a girl, short hair folks, we're good to go. Okay. So we have a new segment I want to introduce to you. I'm actually stealing this from Studio 512. I made a guest appearance on the local KXAN in Austin. And I was asked to recommend streaming options, one old TV show or movie and one new TV show or movie. Because guys, we're getting to the bottom of the barrel. Like I've been streaming a lot of stuff like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, you name it. Like, and I'm just like, I've seen it. Or like, don't want to watch it. So I've asked our guests today, and I want you to let me know in the comments. I want one old TV show or movie, and we're going to call that, we're going to consider older than 5 years. So anything before 5 years ago, that's fair game for the old. And one new TV show or movie, and they need to be able to stream. It's okay if you have to pay for it. I just want one old TV show or movie, and one new TV show or movie. So I'm going to drop that in the comments. I want to hear your recommendations for everybody in the world who's here, and we can all see these and read these and come back to them on Facebook. So don't forget, after the segment ends, you can come back to Facebook and read the comments and see what people are recommending. I'm actually going to start with JR this time. So JR, I'm coming for you. JR, convince me, what should I be watching right now?
Okay, old or new? Are we doing both?
Let's start with old, more than 5 years old.
Right, you got to watch Frasier. If you love wine, you have to watch Frasier. There's 10 seasons.
Really?
You won't be bored. All of their wine information is accurate and it's hilarious. Like, it is no joke.
Wow.
It's great.
Was this like the Somm TV show before like the Somm movies existed?
I guess so. I don't know. I just discovered it this year and it changed my world. I watch it every day.
Wow. I remember like randomly seeing like maybe one episode growing up, but I have never watched Frasier. Okay. You've hooked me. And you said 10 seasons?
Yeah, there's like 10 or 8, something like that.
That's something I need. I need like a good binge-worthy show that I can just get multiple seasons worth of. Okay, Frasier it is. Thank you, JR. Crystal, I'm coming for you next. What's your old recommendation, Crystal?
Well, first of all, I can't believe she just discovered Frasier. It's incredible. But my old would be, like, don't judge me too harshly, but it would be Dawson's Creek. Kind of like takes me back to my teen years. So that's
my gosh.
Yeah.
my friend Fabian, who works for the Austin Film Festival every year, is obsessed and would be so proud that you just mentioned that. I can't wait to text her later and tell her that my guest today recommended Dawson's Creek. Full disclosure, never watched it. Don't know if I can get into it, but I know she's obsessed and she knows a lot about film and TV. So I respect that opinion. Okay. So Dawson's Creek it is.
But new Ken Burns documentary on PBS, country music, incredible.
Okay, I mean, I know Ken Burns, like old school stuff, so this is like a new Ken Burns thing.
Yeah, it's new Ken Burns documentary. Came out in about the last year on PBS, and it covers country music, like from the old days to the new country music. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Crystal. You know, yesterday we talked about Matthew McConaughey versus Willie Nelson. I talked about my Garth Brooks and George Strait, and so you know what's up. I love me some country music. I might have to check that out. Elise, talk to me about your old recommendation.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how old it is, but it's Criminal Minds, and it's been on since like the 2008 or something, or 2005. I don't know, but it's got like 100.
I can't believe we're considering 2008 old now. Like, as 2008's 12 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's 2005, but it's really, really, I'm like obsessed. It's terrible. Criminal Minds is
Criminal Minds is your old. And let's go with your new, since we already went there with Crystal. What's your new recommendation?
Well, my new is on Netflix. There's a show called Dead to Me, and it's a small series. And it is so hilarious, and the twist at the end is just amazing.
Oh, okay, don't give it away.
I'm not.
Okay,
no.
Dead to Me is the name.
Dead to Me, yes. It's so good.
Okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
Really
well,
good.
I have not heard of it, so I love this. I need these kind of recommendations, so I got to check that out. Thank you, Elise. JR, we're coming back to you. I need your new recommendation.
Okay. If you haven't seen Sex Education on Netflix, you should. You have to go. It's so heartfelt, so lovely, very modern ideas, which we need to be inviting in right now. It's great. It's so entertaining, and
I couldn't agree with you more. I was so entertained. When that first came out, I binged the whole first season, and then like recently, I think the second season dropped, or maybe the third. It was the second or third season, and I binged through it too. It's like, high school drama, but like, it's got adult stuff too, and it was so entertaining. It's funny, it's real, pulls at the heartstrings, deals with a lot of like issues. I feel like it's a rich show.
Yeah, and the pantsuits, like they're amazing pantsuits. If you just need some street style.
Totally, and it's set in the UK, right? Remind me if I'm wrong. It's like a UK based show, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for the accents too. I can just like listen to British people talk. I love accents, period. So whatever, there's a draw there for me. Okay, guys. Hopefully, I've seen, oh my gosh, so many recommendations in the comments. Like, Guys, this is going to be a treasure trove to come back to. So remember, this automatically posts to Facebook when we're finished. And so when you want to come back and look about what you should be streaming next, it's all here. Old one would be Ab Fab, Bosch for new, Cheers for old. Oh my gosh, also we are kindred spirits. I freaking love Cheers, guys. And I didn't realize Cheers was actually dealing with some pretty heavy topics at the time. Some like intense social topics that like were kind of taboo to talk about. So I love Cheers. I'm all about being a regular. Ozark, guys, just remember, if you decide to watch Ozark as a new one, it was purposely filmed dark and hard to hear. So it's not your TV that's messing up. They purposely filmed it dark and hard to hear. So like, don't waste your time trying to fix the lighting in your room or on your TV. It's a part of the effect. So if you're not into that kind of like artsy thing, like forget about it. But I appreciated that extra level of like production thoughtfulness in Ozark. It's a great show. It's dark. If you're not into dark, don't go watch Ozark. How I Met Your Mother, Trace says, Will and Grace, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Guys, that show is so good. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Okay, here's my recommendations. My old recommendation is, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name of it. President, gosh, y'all help me out here. Michael Douglas. I recommend it's a 1995 movie written by Aaron Sorkin, The American President. American President, is that right? I got to bring folks on here. Y'all pop in here. Is it American? It's American President, right?
Yeah, The American President, one of my favorites of all time. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I just wanted to confirm. No, so okay, this is a single dad is in the White House and he falls in love with a lobbyist, and it's Aaron Sorkin. So I think for me, guys, this was about having like really good dialogue and character development. I just needed it, and I needed somebody who was like leading the country as this like wholesome figure that was like fun, and it's the love story. And so anyway, I freaking love The American President. That's my old recommendation. And my new recommendation, and I'm going to bring my folks back on, and we're about to cheers you guys out, but I'm a sucker for rethinking the whole dating show thing. So full disclosure, I'm single, whatever. Love is Blind. I fell hard for, guys. I think The Bachelor is terrible, but I love Love is Blind, and it's basically like they're in quarantine. So this is like made for right now. These folks are in pods. They can't see each other, so they're going on dates without seeing each other. So if you haven't seen Love is Blind, it's a good, like, whatever. It's not a wholesome show. You're not getting a ton out of it. It's just straight entertaining. And I'm a huge fan of one of the couples in there, and I might have started watching them on Instagram, whatever. Okay, guys. We spent a lot of time talking today. I want to say thank you to Crystal and Elise and JR. Thank you guys so much for being guests. Thank you to all of the folks in the comments. I'm going to keep JR on. Whoops, I didn't mean to show that comment from Anthony. I don't know what that was. JR, I'm going to keep you with me while we go over these three things, because I want you to cheers us out as soon as we do the three announcements. You guys know that I have got to show you. So let's, a lot of times I've been running out of characters, so let's do this one by one. All right. First of these three things, and then second and third, because they're not as long. So we'll do it as two separate posts. And then I can actually show it on the screen. I'll put my head up higher so I'm not cut off. Sorry, I'm cutting your face off a little bit, JR. Number one, we are having a party, guys. We've been open for 10 years. It is time to rock and roll. We have a 4-pack for the virtual tasting on Saturday. That link right there is where you can order it. There is sparkling wine in this 4-pack. And if you add 2 more bottles, you get it for free. So just add 2 more bottles. You're going to drink the wine. Like, get it done. Second thing, guys, is with those 2 more bottles that you're going to add to your 4-pack to help us celebrate our 10th anniversary party on Saturday, is you get 10% off those other 2 bottles using the code Happy Hour, because you're here and hanging out with us on this awesome show. Cool. So use the code Happy Hour for 10% off of those extra 2 bottles. And number 3, which is right there. Number 3, we are going to be drinking Touriga Nacional. It looks like it got cut off. So let's use it from Phillips Vineyard. I know Phillips was here earlier. Hopefully, guys, you're still in the comments. We love Phillips Vineyard. Incredible family. And we're going to have a special guest, our friend Morgan Perry. who is going to talk to us about yoga, meditation, and wine. You're not going to want to miss it. I heard a rumor she's also going to pledge her love for Schiava, which may or may not be a grape that you're familiar with. So come learn about yoga, meditation, how it influences you tasting wine, and the grape Schiava tomorrow. It's a full deck with our friend Morgan. So those are these three things. JR, I just want to say thank you one more time. I miss you. Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Please check out her new project, Stay at Home Som. And I want to turn it over to you. You know, we cheers to either somebody special or a group of people that we really want to recognize in this time. So take it away. Who are we cheersing to today, JR?
Today, I'm cheersing to all of the displaced service industry family who are staying resilient and keeping us all safe by staying home, even though it's definitely not the easiest thing to do. So cheers, y'all.
Cheers. Cheers to you. Cheers to all of our folks in the service industry. We love them. Elise, Crystal, cheers to you guys as well. We love you. Thanks to everybody in the comments. Thanks for everybody who came today. We'll see you right back here, 5 o'clock tomorrow. Bring a friend. Love you guys. See you soon.
Yeah.